Saturday, November 3rd at 6 p.m., the New Mexico Philharmonic returns to Popejoy Hall, conducted by Maestro Roberto Minczuk, Peter Suave, bandoneon soloist, and soprano Catalina Cuervo, music of Bernstein, Piazzolla, and Falla. Maestro, we talked about the Bernstein overture, which he wrote for Mstislav Rostropovich's first concert as music director of the National Symphony Orchestra in Washington. Let's talk a bit more about Astor Piazzolla. Piazzolla was a bandoneon, a multi-talented bandoneon player, composer, conductor who revolutionized tango music with Nuevo Tango.
The Concerto for Bandoneon is an amazing piece because this is an amazing instrument. The bandoneon was originally German, and with German immigrants took the bandoneon to Buenos Aires. Interesting enough, this instrument was created to substitute, it was like a portal organ, so you could take to small churches for Sunday services. That was the purpose. But when it got to Buenos Aires, rather than going to the churches, the bandoneon made its way to the brothels in Buenos Aires. And that's where it all started, with the tango music, and it became the main sound of the tango is the bandoneon. It's a very difficult instrument, and there is so much mystery involving the bandoneon, because it's an instrument that new makers were not able to reproduce to this day. So the great bandoneon players, they use these very old bandoneons from last century because they have not been able to produce good new bandoneons. It's sort of like the Stradivarius violin that could never be reproduced again. So this instrument is a fascinating instrument, and Piazzolla, since he was a little kid, he was already playing in the tango bands, in orchestras in Buenos Aires, and he mastered this instrument like very few did. The Aconcagua concerto explores all the technical possibilities of this great instrument in three different movements, of course, in the Nuevo Tango style, and maybe because he is exploring the peak of what someone could do with a bandoneon, he calls it Aconcagua, which is named after one of the highest mountains in the Andes. So this is the Aconcagua concerto for bandoneon in an orchestra.
Manuel de Falla's The Three-Cornered Hat, one of the works again drawn from the world of ballet, and premiered with Diaghilev and the Ballet Russe in 1919. Not just a ballet with a Spanish setting, but it also incorporates techniques of Spanish dance into the score itself.
Yeah, and the music is just so incredible. I mean, following the trend of that time where composers were becoming ever more so nationalistic, de Falla, who lived in Paris for a long time and was acquainted with all of his contemporaries, including Stravinsky, Ravel, even Villa-Lobos. So he is devoted to the music of his nature, his nation and his own culture. The Three-Cornered Hat has all the elements of great Hispanic music with beautiful dance rhythms, but at the same time very sophisticated sounds of the 20th century music, very modern orchestrations, huge orchestra. So it's a very powerful ballet, very exciting moments, as well as some really beautiful, quiet movements within the ballet. So it's one of the best known Spanish music of the 20th century.
Tell me about is it two pieces that the singer has in this?
The singer, yeah, she comes in two different moments, and basically with recitative like movements where she is, the orchestra is doing very simple accompaniment to this rather really solo parts for the soprano.
Basically, it's sort of like a flamenco song or songs, aren't they? Very very sad love stories that are told over an accompaniment.
Yes, very melancholic, if you will. The songs, but juxtaposed with the electrifying orchestral moments. At one point, it's very interesting in the Falla's writing, because he quotes Beethoven's Fifth Symphony out of the blue, and it's quite striking when that happens in the score.
Tell me about Catalina Cuervo, because we've seen her here before. She is sort of like fire in a dress, isn't she?
Catalina is originally from Colombia, but has been living in the United States for many years, and she is one of the most well-known interpreters for this music. She's also very famous for the role of Maria de Buenos Aires, opera by Astor Piazzolla, that she has been singing all over the world. So last year we had the chance of having Catalina Cuervo featured in the Falla's El Amor Brujo, and we're very happy to have her again for performing the Three-Cornered Head with us.